speaker is from National Library Board, Mr. Andrea Poa. He's going to talk about what NLB is going to offer. So,
hello everyone. I'm Andre from National Library Board, and I'm going to share on NLB Labs, which is NLB's portal for open data and web services. You can access it through nlblabs.sg. Yeah. Okay, about 3 years ago, the library noticed that governments of other countries such as US or Australia, they are opening up data for the public. And we thought that was actually quite interesting, but what's the reason behind it? So we explored further, and one thing that we realized is that we are able to get partnership and collaborations with people and industry outside of, in our case, outside the library. Okay, so that's how NLB Labs come about. We want to be able to work with industry and people outside of the library to come up with ideas and services to offer to the public. Now, NLB Labs will be the one-stop portal for you to come and ask us questions about the data that we have, give us feedback, as well as collaborate with us. So it's basically just one site. You can come here, there's an email there, and there's also a form to send in requests. Okay, maybe I just want to share a bit on what are some of the examples of what our partners have already developed. Just now, author has mentioned about Bookgetty. Bookgetty is a site whereby you can go and search for a particular title, and then you can check whether or not the library has it, and as well as whether or not Amazon has it. So users can have the choice of whether or not they want to borrow the book or buy it online. The other one that we have is Mobile Read. Mobile Read is actually a native app that NLB has developed on iOS platform. But Android platform also started gaining popularity. And by partnering with Nanyang Poly, we were able to develop this app on the Android platform as well. Okay, I guess what you'll be interested in will be what kind of data we have. These are some of the lists of data and web services. In fact, it's not really updated yet. There's one more data set that we are releasing. It's called List. It's a list of titles that's grouped according to the genre, such as hobby or sport and so forth. Maybe I have to mention about the access requirement here. Firstly is that you will need a fixed IP to access the data and web services that we have. After that, you would need to write in, state your intention, and we will issue an API key. Now for this competition, what we are willing to do is that we will, when you send in a request, just say that you are participating in this PlugFest, and we will issue a temporary API key for the competition. We are also now trying to see if you can forgo the fixed IP as a requirement. But if you have a fixed IP, that would be great. Okay, this is actually my last slide. I just want to share a bit on the key focus area from NLB. Yeah, we are very interested in the mobile platform. The data, if you're able to develop mobile app, that would be great. But other kind of platforms such as websites or even TV app, we also welcome that. Besides the content itself, what we like to see is apps that improve interactivity between the library patrons. For example, book club. We have physical book clubs in the library, but how can we translate that into a digital version? And the next thing that we're interested in is mashups. How we are able to mash up non-library content with library ones, such as what Bookgetty has done. Yeah, that's pretty much I have to share.
Okay, so let's open the floor for questions then. Any questions? Okay, go ahead.
Nowadays, e-book reading is something that has become quite popular. So just want to find out in regards to NLB, what kind of initiatives you all have in regards to the e-books content. We all even allow, let's say, users to actually rent out e-books or such kind of similar services.
Yes, actually if you go to eresources.nlb.gov.sg, you actually can borrow all these ebooks available through that website. All these ebooks, they are actually on subscription basis, so the rights doesn't belong to NLB. So, but we have made them available for patrons to borrow. Yeah.
Sorry, next question. Okay, any plans for any mobile applications? Like, just again extending the question, like, can I have a mobile application like an Apple, iTunes, University app or something like that for NLB so that I can just use it in my iPad, borrow the e-book, of course, return it. If some of our contestants are going to do something like that, is NLB interested? How can we have interaction with your backend system?
Actually, we have a web-based, mobile-based website. It's called Library in Your Pocket. If you go pl.sg, you'll be able to access it. And of course, the other one is mobile read. On this site, you actually can already borrow the e-titles and actually read it on your mobile gadget itself.
Okay. So, any further questions for the speaker? No? All right. So let's thank the speaker. Okay. Just give us 2 minutes. We're just setting up a different laptop here. Okay. Okay, so the last government speaker for the day is from SLA, the Singapore Land Authority. So Singapore Land Authority, we have Mr. Lee Wei Cho, is manager for Geospatial Information and Services. So he's going to share with you obviously what SLA is going to offer, and more importantly what you can do with the data by mashing it up on its own. Now interestingly, SLA is taking the lead by using Prezi here. So I believe it's the first speaker today. We have one more speaker in the afternoon who has promised to use Prezi as well. So without further ado, let us welcome Vicho to give us a short talk.
Thank you for inviting me this morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about OneMap. OneMap essentially is a government initiative to get all agencies to share information, and for those information that is non-sensitive, we would release them to the public. And this information has a particular property, and this information is actually spatial in nature. Now what does this mean? It means you can overlay this information on top of a map. Right? So OneMap is actually a platform that has a base map which SLA compiles, and we share these maps with anyone who wants to use them through an API. Alright? The data from the map actually comes from all the various agencies, and we collect them on a daily basis, and we update all these maps every week. So every week you will see new buildings, new addresses, new roads. All these will be published on the map. And every month there are about 500 updates to the map. So as you see in Singapore, everything is changing all the time. The locations, the buildings, addresses, roads, all these are changing all the time. So what we have is a platform where this information is updated regularly, and this information is pumped out to the public through APIs, and it is accessible through APIs. Right. So in order to use these maps, we have a website called onemap.sg. You won't be able to access all the features on your mobile devices. Mobile devices only has basic functionalities, but if you go to the web portal, you'll be able to find more features there. The main website is onemap.sg, and if you go to the home page, which is /home, there will be a section on how you can make your own maps. right? Essentially, what this does is it enables you to get access to the maps and the data on one map. First, you need to register for the API. Now, this is just a simple form where you type in your contact information, and when you submit it, you will get an email indicating that your registration has been accepted, and there's a key to you, just like Google Maps. You get a key. You put this key into your code, and then you are able to use the APIs. There's an assortment of APIs available on OneMap. These are for developers to get access to the data. All right, and they are for those intending to develop mobile applications. There are mobile APIs for all the platforms, not only iOS but Android and Windows as well. Okay, so basically, the API documentation will have sample code on how you can use the APIs, how to implement them using JavaScript mainly. Essentially, the first one is to get access to the base maps. All right, the API to get access to the base maps. There is a search API that is very useful because it has direct access to all the new addresses as well, new postal codes, new points of interest in Singapore. So these are always updated every week, so you get new ones all the time. All right, and of course you have the mashup APIs. And advanced mashup. Now, what does this do? In OneMap, as I mentioned just now, we actually share data from various government agencies. SLA does not own all this data. This data is actually the property or the rights of the contributing agencies like IDA, NCYS, or now MCCY. So basically, like childcare centers, location of museums, or Wi-Fi hotspots, or even your recycling bins, right? So all these come from various agencies, and we put all this information in a catalog on the website. So when you go to the website, you can see this icon called Teams. When you pull down the Teams, there are various categories, and under each category, there are all the data layers that are there. You select any particular data layer, they will overlay onto the map, and you can access this set of data through the APIs. All right. The mashup API and advanced mashup API will allow you to take the data. It comes in a JSON format, and you can do whatever you want with it. Advanced mashup will enable you to specify a particular area, and it will only retrieve the data within the area. We also have a routing APIs to get routing for private and public transport. Private means driving directions. Public means using your buses and MRTs. We also have APIs for you to get static maps. That means instead of getting a tiled map from the first API, you can actually specify the size, and then you get one image based on that resolution and that size. We also have reverse geocoding to get building addresses. So if you provide a coordinate, you can get the nearest building. And in Singapore, the government uses a local coordinate system, which is called Survey 21. Normally in your Google Maps and things like that, you will have a worldwide projection system which is WGS84. So if you collect data using your GPS, you'll probably get it in WGS84. And if you want to overlay that information on top of one map, you need to convert it to SPY21. So there is an API for you to do the conversion. And we also recently launched a crowdsourcing tool. Essentially, this is a tool that enables organizations to provide crowdsourcing facilities to their users. So by signing up for this tool, you actually get a code snippet which you can embed onto your website. And when you do that, a map appears on your website and allows people to click on the map, type comments, add photos, add video links, and then as more people add these points, then you will see more icons on the map, and people can click on them and see what they are and add to the chain. So basically, this is the crowdsourcing data which we have right now. We are only in the initial stage. Currently, there are two organizations using this, and one is the Cat Welfare Society. They are quite prominent online. They have a blog, they have Facebook, and they have their own websites. They've chosen to incorporate the crowdsourcing onto their website. So basically, they have a community of cat lovers. What they do is that they ask their members to identify locations where stray cats have been seen, and then they will be able to use this information and determine what sort of care needs to be given, what sort of resources need to be allocated to certain areas where cats need help. Alright, some of them have been abused. It shows the relationship between the vet clinics and where the caregivers are in relation to where the cats have been sighted. So all this information can be collected. Crowdsourcing essentially is a tool for people to collect data. What's important that, or maybe some of you may want to take this as an idea, is that once the data is collected, what you can do with it, how you can analyze it, and then present the information in a different way that can be useful to others when you see it. So for the crowdsourcing part, you just have to fill up a form. Essentially, you'll be given a key, and then you have access to an administrator module on OneMap. And you'll be able to configure your crowdsourcing plugin and then plug the code into your website. Right. So this one has a administrator on SLA has to approve your request before it goes through. Once it's approved, then your user ID and password will be sent to you to access the administrator portal. So there are certain other implementations that one can use to represent locations on maps. Is that we have a mini map function, which is very simple. All you have to do is pass in a postal code, 6-digit postal code, and automatically the map comes out with a call out. And if you wish to type in some parameters in the call out, you can do so. You can even add graphics. And we also have an advanced mini map where you can have a map consisting of multiple locations and having call outs for each of those locations. Right, these are basically meant for people wanting to publish location information on a map simply without registering. This one doesn't need any registration. You can use it directly. You can find the instruction on how to use it on the homepage where I mentioned just now. Okay, some of the resources that we have. Essentially, OneMap was built on ESRI technology. It's a company that does geographic information systems. So we use that technology to produce OneMap, and there are, you may want to take note of some of the resource APIs here. The source code, there's instructions on how to use the APIs. They are available in various platforms. There's an iOS SDK for those who want to use iOS development, Windows, as well as Android, of course. So anyways, these URLs will be published later. What are the advantages of using OneMap? As I mentioned earlier, we have more than 200,000 locations which are updated on a regular basis, making it very current. All right. The search API that we provide will always get you the latest information that we update on the database. And as I mentioned, we have various teams contributed by various government agencies. I think today we have 60 different teams, and they are updated by the government agencies themselves, and basically it's published on OneMap after they update it. There's no charge in using the APIs. Alright, again I mentioned that the APIs are available on different platforms, JavaScript, Flex, and Silverlight. We have support for application development using various browsers, and they are available native SDKs for the various mobile platforms. So what have been done in the past, some of the applications using OneMap, show nearby analytics, I think it was mentioned earlier in one of the speakers' slides. They are actually using OneMap to show, this is one of the examples of an application where they have their own content and they mash it up with OneMap to allow people to inquire where they can rent or they can buy certain properties based on certain criteria. For example, if you wanted to look for a place to buy, which is 200 meters from an MRT station, 300 meters from a market, 400 meters from a control station, you could type in all these criteria, and then the system will then generate which are the available properties for you to buy or rent. Right? So they have certain information, and they match it up with the base map and some government data if they want. and they can churn out results. These are some of the things that one can do as ideas for application development. This company has used the maps to show real-time information. Now this company actually collects the real-time information. They get it from a variety of sources, from LTA, and they collect their own, and they have real-time information so that they can actually deliver real-time information onto the maps. Internet Yellow Pages just uses the location information, so it's a very simple implementation. Surround Networks, a company that uses to use maps to show locations of promotions. So if you register with this service and you're walking down the road, let's say Orchard Road, and they have an agreement with this company, let's say selling shoes, and they have promotion, and you're walking around an area, you'll be notified that how many 100 meters there is a promotion going on. You may be interested in going to buy those shoes or something like that. So under the government agencies, various government agencies have adopted the maps to show certain information. Like this is MCYS, OMCYS, Businesses for Families, which shows companies which are family friendly. Alright, they have activities for other members of the family when somebody in the family has interaction with that company. So they list down all these companies where there are family activities for the whole family, and they overlaid it onto the map. Basically, overlaying onto a map makes it easier for people to visualize information. MICA, which is also changed its name, also used to publish all its emergency services on one map. URA season parking uses the season parking. They denote all the season parking information, and they tell you for this particular parking lot is applicable to which area, and you can actually book the season parking online. The master plan from URA shows the master plan what the land is intended to be used for. Property market information is an app by URA that tells all the last year's property transacted prices in Singapore. So they have an application that shows all the prices of all the transactions in Singapore for private property. And PUB has just used this to show water level information. When it rains, different icons on the map will light up in different colors. So if it's red means it's flooded, if it's green means it's clear. IDA publishes its wireless locations on its website. So for non-profit organizations, Nature Society uses the maps to indicate the different regions in which particular birds can be found, or different habitats in which birds exist. So they talk about a bit of their birds, but they mark it out on the map. They show different, they cut out Singapore in different parts, and they show which birds can be found in which parts, and they describe the habitats. And National Volunteer and Philanthropy Center shows volunteer opportunities in Singapore. Basically, they just mark out all the locations where help is needed, and you can go to this website and register to assist those places if you're nearby those places or you want to volunteer your services. So this is a map-based application that shows where volunteer help is needed. So for the mobile front, Pocket One Map is the mobile version of what we have on OneMap.sg. Currently it's available on Android and iOS as well. This application was developed as a fun game which encouraged people to recycle by going to throw their rubbish at recycling bins, and when they do that they get points, and they challenge themselves with their friends, and then the winner gets points, and they challenge their friends, so that makes it interesting. So it's on a Windows platform, but they use OneMap. Okay, this IGO NYP is essentially a detailed map about Nanyang Poly. So it's meant for their first year students when they are not familiar with the surroundings. You can refer to this app to see where all the amenities are within the polytechnic. And I'm Hungry at SG, also an iPhone app which tells users where the nearby restaurants are. and they can contact the restaurants to order the food online. So these are just some of the ideas that how people have implemented applications using data. And basically what we're looking for next is hopefully somebody using this raw data and analyzing it and representing the results in a more interesting way. All right. So the mashing up of a couple of layers of data, like Arthur said earlier, by being able to come up with a new set of information that is more easily visualized and understood. So that's all I have for the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't have any questions because I think you answered all my questions along the way. So let's open up the floor. I think first thing you see is this presentation was very nice, and thank you for your effort in using Prezi and other thing, make it. So questions? Yeah, please put down.
I want to find out, where the ATM machines, AXS machines are located. Is there such information available?
Currently, it's not available because the ATM machines and AXS machines are owned by the private sector.
Okay.
Right. So currently, OneMap tries to encourage government agencies to share information. I think in future we will also try to address the private agencies, but at this point of time we are trying to get the government agencies to share first.
Okay, next question. Yeah.
So do you intend to have like indoor maps and 3D maps for OneMap?
Certainly that looks like the direction forward, and I think in the next revamp of OneMap we will try to adopt 3D technology to be able to visualize 3D, but of course there needs to be a lot of data that's available. I think currently the data is only concentrated in certain areas where certain models have been built, but not for the whole of Singapore. So there are patches of 3D data available, but not entirely in Singapore. But of course, we will try to enable the infrastructure to support 3D technology in the next run. As for indoor mapping, that one really we will try to source for the information, because I think going through all the, I don't know whether BCA will or the building authorities have plans to do that, but we will definitely look into this area, but currently we don't have that data.
Because it's more towards like hospital, people try to find hospital, you know.
Yeah. So definitely maybe government buildings will be the first place to go to start with, and that's where we will see where we can share more data in that area.
Regarding the crowdsourcing, actually, I'm not sure how it works, but the data collected, actually, will you the OneMap actually has a copy?
Yeah, when you use the crowdsourcing tool in OneMap, the data actually goes into the OneMap server. It's stored there, but it's accessible by the administrator, which is if you sign up and you have rights to it, only you get to see it.
So whose right is to the data?
The data is yours.
Is ours.
Yeah.
Or the user actually, we depend on a contract with the user actually.
No, actually, if let's say you sign up, you have a website and you sign up for this, you are collecting some information. The OneMap database is just used to store information, but only you have access to it. Because you access the data through the administration portal, and you can actually download the data to Excel.
Encrypted or not?
No, it's fine. Actually, talking about crowdsourcing, if you want, what we offer here is just a very basic, no frills version, just to allow you to collect some data. But if you want something more sophisticated to build your interface better, you actually can use APIs, design your own UI, and maybe then in that case you have to store the data on your own website, right? But you can still use the master data from OneMap.
Okay. Question? Last one? No? Okay, maybe I just ask you one question. Okay, so is there can you comment on your the technical infrastructure, in the sense like this competition is about mobile applications and cloud applications, so if they're going to use an API in real time and the app becomes quite popular, what is the capacity of the server? Is scalable? Are you already in the cloud? Is OneMap host it in the cloud or via Amazon Web Services, whatever. Maybe just you can touch upon so that it gives more confidence for the people to say, I can use the API and I'm sure that my app will run fine because you have the capacity.
Okay, OneMap is currently hosted in the government data center, but we are slowly migrating it onto the cloud. In fact, the base maps have already gone onto AWS, and by the end of this FY, which is March, the whole of OneMap will be migrated onto AWS. So that is to take care of the scalability and the demand load if required.
Alright, that's great. So guys, that's great news. So I think all of you know that Amazon Web Services is quite scalable. So if you build your app, say from February 15 to March 15, by the time your app is ready and you can go on a world scale, we can be assured that the database can take the load, right? So I think that's it for the speaker. Let's thank the speaker.